Welcome to the 122nd Celebrity Synastry chart reading, where we will be looking into Moonbyul and Jin. If you don't know me, hi, I'm Adeline and it is so nice to meet you. On this channel, I look at the dynamic between two celebrities using astrology. For those new and returning, I take notes on a Synastry chart looking at the personal, planet, signs, aspects, and if birth times, available house overlays. I share these notes and add my extra insights and interpretations along the way. So if that sounds good to you, subscribe and click the bell to join us weekly, and let's get right into this one. Starting off with the sun, we have Moonbyul Sun in Capricorn and Jin's Sun in Sagittarius. Moonbyul helps Jin to be more realistic and they have contrasting lifestyles. As far as I know, they're both in the music industry, so I assume they would be having similar lifestyles potentially, maybe in different ways. We'll see a bit more. Jin sees Moonbyul as boring and Moonbyul sees Jin as irresponsible. Moonbyul's sun is squared Jin's moon. There's basic misunderstandings, as we're already seeing. There are practical disagreements, and Jin sees Moonbyul as too rational and selfish. I mean, yeah, if he sees her as being a bit more boring, that's also there. Moonbyul sees Jin as too sensitive and there is general discontent. Jin may feel resentful towards Moonbyul over time. Jin's sun conjunct Moonbyul's moon. There's a powerful connection and a blending of goals. I'm glad we're going into a bit more positive territory. The initial attraction is felt by Moonbyul, and Moonbyul plays a supportive role where Jin leads the relationship. So I'm not sure if they maybe worked on music together where Jin was maybe leading, or maybe he is in a more successful band. Jin's sun conjunct Moonbyul's Mercury. They have good communication and they enjoy learning together. They have productive domestic life, so I wonder if maybe they toured together or something like that, or maybe it was like potential of like maybe Jin's band was touring and like the main act. And then I know there's a specific word for it, but like the opening act. Maybe Moonbyul and like her group that she was in was the opening act or something like that. And through that, they toured a bit and shared a domestic life that was good. They share and talk about ideas, and Moonbyul values Jin's views. Moonbyul feels free to speak around Jin. Jin's sun sextile Moonbyul's Venus. They really love each other, and Moonbyul boosts Jin's ego. I feel like there is a bit of a dynamic, like good girl, bad boy type dynamic because we're seeing like he sees her as being a bit more boring and all of that. But also this side where Moonbyul is able to like feels free to speak around him and all of that. It's sort of like he is helping her rebel, or like allowing a space for her to be a bit more herself and like let go of that persona maybe. They both have a desire for cooperation and harmony, and Jin feels adored by Moonbyul. It seems like a bit of that dynamic going on, and Jin is like happy to be the one sort of like, you know, holding the ropes or showing the ropes of like being a bit more rebellious and all of that maybe. Jin's sun sextile Moonbyul's Jupiter. Jin energizes Moonbyul and they are good travel companions, so I assume there was definitely some sort of touring with these two. Moonbyul is generous with Jin and Moonbyul opens up new doors for Jin. Interesting. Mutual respect remains after the end. I don't know where these two I'm going in completely blind to this, but like this could be the end of their relationship, you could say, or friendship. Also, maybe they just did a tour together and that's it, and that ended after that. Moonbyul boosts Jin's confidence, we're seeing again, and they both want to make the other happy. Moonbyul frequently gives Jin the benefit of the doubt, which kind of goes back to how we saw in the beginning that she sees him as a bit more irresponsible, so maybe giving the benefit of the doubt in that sense. Jin's sun sextile Moonbyul's Saturn. It's a long-term relationship and they work on common goals together. Moonbyul is loyal to Jin. I'm not really surprised. It seems like there's a lot of dedication on her part to him. They both feel they can rely on each other and they both feel a sense of commitment to each other. They can work together business-wise. So I'm feeling like these are a bit more like of a colleague dynamic, like a very stable colleague dynamic. You know, they're able to work together. They're able to hold some kind of friendship. Now for the intermission. This video is brought to you by me, my Etsy store, Adeline the Astrologer. If you ever watch this and think, hey, I would like her to read my Synastry chart, well, I will. I do personalized synastry readings on my Etsy store, both basic and detailed. The basic one is very simple to understand. It's not overwhelming at all. It's pretty good for those that are beginners to astrology, just getting the head around astrology, or just as a fun gift idea. The detailed one is just like what I do on my channel, just a lot of insight and interpretation on your chart. So if you are interested in that and everything else astrology and tarot related, readings and gifts, then definitely check out my Etsy store. Links are below. I'm always releasing new things, so definitely check it out if you're interested. You can even just favorite the store just to show your support for free. Thanks for listening, and let's get back to the reading. So now it's time for moon. We have Moonbyul's moon in Sagittarius and Jin's moon in Aries. These are both fire signs. They both desire independence, and they are both uncomfortable with neediness. We haven't seen a whole lot when it comes to neediness. It seems like, as I said, good colleague dynamics so far. Moonbyul tries to humor Jin out of his anger, and Jin gets annoyed with Moonbyul's positivity. Yeah, I'm really seeing, it's like Moonbyul's like a goody two-shoes in this relationship, like, and it seems like Jin is the one kind of like stepping her out of that, if that makes sense. Their moon signs are trine together, so there's a desire to nurture each other, and they are sensitive to each other's needs, which is why I imagine it would be good when it comes to like travel and domestic life, because there is a very important, like, knowing what the other person needs and like is comfortable with and all of that. It's long-term or marriage. I'm leaning towards like long-term, like a long-term business partnership, like marriage. We haven't really seen anything super, relationship-y, marriage-wise. They share similar tastes and they both feel comfortable together. They enjoy creating a home together, another domestic factor, which is interesting. Family plays an important part in the relationship. So, I mean, this could be literally anything. Like, so far, I don't feel like they are in like a super serious relationship where like they're, a literal family together, marriage. So potentially, I don't know, like their individual families somehow play a role in this. I don't know, but that is there. They feel safe together and there's a tendency to avoid hurting each other. There's a possibility of being too accommodating to each other, which, I mean, the closest we've seen is Moonbyul giving Jin the benefit of the doubt frequently. Moonbyul's moon sextile Jin's Jupiter. There's good fortune and they're a popular couple, which literally, I mean, they're famous, so obviously popular. There is honest communication and it's likely for them to support charities. They have an intellectual understanding. Obviously, if they work together, I imagine, especially in like a very creative industry, you need to have that sort of intellectual rapport with someone, that creative intellectual rapport. Excessiveness could be an issue. All we've really seen so far is, Moonbyul being a bit too like, nice to Jin, it seems like, excessively so. So now it's time for Mercury. Of Moonbyul's Mercury in Sagittarius and Jin's Mercury in Scorpio. Jin finds Moonbyul egotistical. I mean, if you are very goody two-shoes and like sucking up to everyone, I think that kind of person, if Jin is interpreting her to be that way, you can definitely see that kind of person as being like egotistical and like stuck up. Moonbyul can be too brash for Jin, and Jin can be a buzzkill for Moonbyul. I would have thought the other way around of the buzzkill thing, but I guess in like other ways. They learn from each other and Moonbyul gets impatient with Jin. I assume this would be in terms of like not being like responsible enough, maybe impatient in terms of like he's not, I don't know, getting his work done or something like that. Moonbyul's Mercury sextile Jin's Jupiter. Jin appreciates Moonbyul's thoughts and ideas, and there is open communication. There is a strong friendship and business together is beneficial, which is, what I've been saying. It definitely seems to be that way, like a strong like colleague, business, friendship type dynamic here. Jin often gives Moonbyul the benefit of the doubt, which I'm glad that they both seem to be doing that for each other. They enjoy traveling together, we're seeing again, and they have an optimistic meeting. They intellectually stimulate each other and they love to laugh together. Moonbyul's Mercury sextile Jin's Saturn. Jin helps Moonbyul focus, which is interesting considering it seems like that. I thought it would be the other way around, but you could see this as, Jin helping Moonbyul focusing on like maybe the fun things in life, or maybe even the fun things in the industry. Moonbyul feels she can learn a lot from Jin. Again, that sort of, element. It seems like Jin is wanting to like show the ropes of like not being as like, goody two-shoes. They solve problems together and they have dry conversations. I mean, if like they are if most of their talk is about, business and stuff like that, obviously it will tend to be a bit more dry. They have a good business partnership. Jin's Mercury, Trine Moonbyul's Mars. Moonbyul stimulates Jin's mind and Moonbyul energizes Jin. Moonbyul helps Jin develop his ideas and they work well together, obviously. So it seems like she seems to be a bit more dedicated to this space and like developing his ideas. Like I'm imagining like he has all these ideas, like a creative like outburst sort of thing, and then Moonbyul is the one that's helping him like harness that creative energy. Jin teaches Moonbyul how to be more reasonable. I'm seeing again the whole like stuck up sort of like egotistical thing. Like if she's sucking up to people a lot and stuff like that, you know, that sort of thing. They both move forward in this relationship and Jin helps Moonbyul to problem solve. There is healthy intellectual competition and they enjoy debating together. So I assume like, again, like the whole intellect is stimulating each other, working well together sort of thing. Moonbyul takes Jin's words personally. Again, it seems like he definitely seems to have like a bit of a high power over her. Like she seems to take him quite seriously, what he has to say and all of that. Jin's Mercury conjunct Moonbyul's Pluto. Jin's words influence Moonbyul. Yeah, not surprisingly so. They have deep conversations and it is transformative. Light conversations usually end up in deep conversations. So I guess, I mean, it is nice to see like they are able to have like deeper conversations together. I think you could see this obviously on a more personal level. You know, they are just talking about business and then they end up in some whatever deep conversation. You could also see this again, like Moonbyul helping Jin harness that creative energy, like a sort of light idea maybe he throws, ends up, you know, they have a deeper discussion of how to like harness that, if that makes sense. They feel they have a lot to learn from each other and Moonbyul tends to dominate the conversation. I mean, if it is a matter of business and she's very, I don't want to say business oriented, I guess like a good work ethic I'm imagining from her. You know, you would tend to dominate conversation in that area. Moonbyul tries to impose her beliefs on Jin. Yeah, if she is like, I know I keep saying it, but like from what we are getting from this reading, it seems like she is that more like goody two shoes, good girl type of person, maybe coming off as a bit more egotistical. And this is kind of in line with that. Like that's like the sort of negative side of that things. You do kind of tend to think you are right. If you're you're living your life as if everything is correct, you know, you're going to push that onto someone, especially someone like Jin, who seems to be a bit more like frivolous, maybe a bit more rebellious. Moonbyul demands to know Jin's secrets, yikes, and there is a mutual attraction of the other's mind. The only thing we have seen like attraction-wise is with Moonbyul being initially attracted to Jin. There was something like that on her end. So potentially she, you know, attracted to his mind, or it could be a mutual thing as well, obviously. So now it's time for Venus. We have Moonbyul's Venus in Aquarius and Jin's Venus in Capricorn. There's difficulty finding common ground, not surprisingly so, because they seem to be very different people, have like different approaches to life and all of that. They're intrigued by each other. It definitely seems to be the case. Like they have their differences, but they seem to be quite curious of each other and still seem to make things work. Jin can be possessive on Moonbyul. Interesting. Moonbyul allows Jin to be himself, not really surprised, because we've kept seeing that, how she seems to give him the benefit of the doubt and everything and really admire him. Jin is not fulfilled by the lack of substance here. I assume it is just like, in a way, like Moonbyul isn't like maybe intellectually stimulating enough, maybe not intellectually so, but I guess like not as exciting, maybe that's the right word. Like she's just focused on work and doing the correct thing and not so much about like living an exciting life, if that makes sense. Jin appreciates Moonbyul's reason, which is great. I'm glad, like again, it seems like they are able to appreciate the other and the differences, like the personalities the individual doesn't share, if that makes sense. So that's nice. Moonbyul's Venus, Trine Jin's Jupiter. Jin appreciates Moonbyul as a friend. Yeah, I see that. Like, I wouldn't be too shocked because, I mean, the only attraction things we have seen is from Moonbyul's end, and it seems like he doesn't necessarily approve of her in that way. you know, it seems like she's a bit too, like, you know, good for him and all of that, you know, better as like a friend and business partner. They see the good in each other and they make each other feel more confident, which is nice. They're a financially abundant couple and they share inside jokes. They thrive in each other's company and they're a popular couple. Moonbyul improves Jin's social life, which we did see how she opens up new doors for him. So I wonder if that is in like a social, like networking connection type of way. Moonbyul's Venus conjunct Jin's Saturn. Jin stabilizes Moonbyul's emotions and Jin feels more responsible for Moonbyul. I see that. Like, I feel like if they're out together, like, you kind of would feel responsible for someone who, for lack of better words, potentially could be a bit more sheltered. So yeah, on Jin's end, that's the way I see on Jin's end. Moonbyul may be restricted by Jin, like, you know, wanting to, like, I guess, like, her shelteredness would want to make him shelter her even more. It's a bit ironic, but like, I guess it does make sense wanting to protect her and all of that. They always come back together. So yeah, I wonder if like they do, like, you know, their whole like life, I guess you could say. They've been doing like, I guess, music projects together, because we did see how mutual respect remains after the end. So I wonder if maybe like, you know, after every music project, whatever they do together, you know, respect remains and they are able to come back together for another project and stuff like that. It's a painful but strong bond. It's not super painful. From what we have seen, like, the only pain really is like they are very different people. And potentially on Moonbyul's end, it's like unrequited love, you could say, unrequited attraction. They may demand too much from each other too soon. Interesting. Jin's Venus opposite Moonbyul's Mars. Jin may become manipulative to try get Moonbyul to prove her feelings. Huh? In what way? Like, would he want her to prove her feelings though, is where my brain's going, because it doesn't seem like he's very much interested in her, unless it is like a genuinely manipulative, like negative thing where he's maybe doing it in a way to, I don't know, make fun of her or something like that. That's the only way my brain is like interpreting this and like going with this, because otherwise it doesn't seem like he's genuinely interested in her. And it's just reminding me of like the trope, like, you know, the like good innocent person, like in like a high school movie, is like they're kind of forced to, like, I don't know, force their feelings out about someone and blah blah, and then it turns like they use it against them. That's where my brain is going anyway. Let me know if you guys interpret this any differently, because I cannot see anything otherwise. Their desire for each other will always be there, and Jin feels he gives more than he gets. I mean, in terms of like excitement maybe and like creativity and all of that, Jin sees Moonbyul as harsh. I mean, not really, surprisingly so. Moonbyul sees Jin as lacking substance. It's kind of, I guess it is a good thing in a way that they both think the other lacks substance in their own way. Moonbyul may come onto Jin too strong. That's what I'm saying. It seems like she's more into him. We haven't really seen anything on Jin's and that he's interested in Moonbyul as like more than friends or anything like that. Jin's Venus sextile Moonbyul's Pluto. They are consumed by each other and it's unlikely to grow stale and routine. I seem like when it comes to consumed by each other, first of all, Moonbyul. But also it seems like creatively, in like business sense, they are able to work really well together. It seems like they do enjoy it. Like we saw, you know, the desire of each other will always be that they always come back together. It seems like they are very happy to work with each other again and again. It's unlikely to grow stale and routine, which, I mean, if you're in the music industry, obviously it's not going to necessarily go stale and routine. I guess particularly with their dynamic as well. If it is on and off, that's not a very stale routine sort of thing. It is unexpected when you're going to work with them next, you know. Jin sees Moonbyul as irresistible. The first sign we're seeing maybe he's interested in her. Again, a bit, you know, compared to Moonbyul, not a lot. Like, this is the one thing compared to the couple times already with Moonbyul. So that whole manipulative thing to try and get her to prove her feelings is still kerfuffling me. It's emotionally fulfilling. We haven't seen a whole lot when it comes to emotions. Like, we saw Jin stabilizes Moonbyul's emotions, but other than that, we haven't seen a whole lot more. I guess the lack of emotions can definitely be, in a way, emotionally fulfilling for some people. If you don't really want that, that is, you know, if you don't get that, that is fulfilling, you know. They both see disagreements as a way to understand the other person more. I see that because it seems like they're very accepting of the other's differences and willing to work with it in a way to their advantage, which is nice. So I imagine we haven't seen a whole lot of like disagreements, arguments, and all of that. But I imagine the differences in a way is a bit of a disagreement, you know. So now it's time for Mars. We have both their Mars signs in Cancer, so they are protective of each other, not surprisingly. So we did see this a bit more on Jin's end for Moonbyul. They may become manipulative with each other, yeah, which we saw on Jin's end again a bit more. It is very strange though. I'm still confused by that. They solve problems peacefully together and they are passive aggressive. Not surprisingly so, is it though? Like, because they seem to be accepting of the other's differences, but still not necessarily obsessed with them though. Like, you know, it's not like they're really taking on board the other's qualities and stuff like that. Little bit of influence and trying to help the other, yes, but not necessarily, wow, maybe I should take on board what you do or something like that, you know. Their Mars signs are conjunct together, so there is straightforward communication and healthy competitiveness. Again, you know, we've seen this. It seems like they do communicate fairly well. We haven't seen a whole lot of disagreements and stuff like that. And obviously in the music industry, like obviously you can tend to be a bit more competitive, but the fact that these two seem to be able to like constantly go back to work with each other, I feel like that is very healthy for some people in the music industry. They identify with each other on a basic level, you know, they're in the music industry. They both share the same, you know, career and passion. I assume it's their passion and, you know, in a way, they inspire each other to do their best and they may be physically active together. So potentially, like especially if they are touring, I'm sure you would do some, I don't know, like activities to like keep yourself occupied or something like that, you know, exercise, keep you going. It's easy for them to get into conflict. I kind of agree with this because the differences they have, you could very easily get into conflict with the other. And not to say that they never do, but it seems like we've seen a lot of they are able to make it work together and make it a complementary thing rather than a straight up conflicting difference. Moonbyul's Mars, Trine Jin's Pluto. There is potential for both to get possessive. We haven't really seen anything. Like the closest we have seen is Moonbyul coming onto Jin too strong. And obviously we've seen she has a bit more attraction than the other way around. Other than that, we haven't seen a whole lot of possessiveness, especially because it seems like they have that on and off dynamic. It is intense and they accomplish a lot together, not surprisingly so. They enjoy the power play between them. We haven't seen a whole lot when it comes to like if one is more dominant than the other or submissive than the other, because it seems like they both are very well within their power, so to speak. Just in different ways. I guess you could see like, you know, Moonbyul being like the goody two-shoes and Jin being a bit more like assertive and dominant in like showing her the ropes of like a more exciting life. That's the only way I could see like enjoying the power play between them on Jin's end. There is lots of primitive energy here and they both go through big changes together. Moonbyul helps bring out Jin's subconscious to the surface. Yeah, that's, you know, we've seen this sprinkled in. It seems like Jin is really, you know, able to bring out his sort of like raw creative energy, so to speak, and like share that with Moonbyul, and she's able to, I guess, you know, harness it and, you know, make it, you know, translating into music, if that makes sense. You know, I'm sure you get random creative bursts and, you know, it's not going to necessarily sound good in a song. You need to, you know, edited it a bit, all of that, which seems to be Moonbyul's role when they're making music. Jin's Mars, Trine Moonbyul's Pluto, so this is another repeated aspect, just inverted, so everything from just before is further emphasized, but also Jin helps bring out Moonbyul's subconscious to the surface. I feel like for this, you know, for Jin, for Moonbyul, this would be in terms of like maybe rebelling and exciting, like there's like a hidden side of Moonbyul where she wants to let loose a bit and not be as like restricted and like following the rules and all of that. So that was the final aspect, bringing us to the end of the reading. A bit of a shorter reading today, unfortunately not as many aspects. If you are still watching, please share your thoughts below. I'd be very curious to see what you guys have to say about this one, particularly if you are fans of these two. This was actually, I don't know, a very interesting reading, I think. And I'm very curious to see, like, you know, your thoughts as fans. If you have made it this far, please consider subscribing for more. I post these readings weekly. And besides that, give this video a like and I will see you guys next time. Bye!